Joe, have you always been in production?
Um, in a way, yes, and in a way, no. I made my first film when I was in high school. And when I was in high school, it was film.
R
But it was called Super 8. So it was like an 8 millimeter and just 8 millimeter film, and it was a 3 minute long reel, and there was no audio. So what we did, it was a few of my friends from high school. We did it as a class project, and we took a song and uh, did the movie to the song. But it's an interesting song. The song is about drug smugglers. So basically, we went to the local tiny airport and filmed a plane landing, and then ran up to the airplane and said, "Hey, we're filming this for school. We film me getting out of your plane?" And they said yes. So I got out of the plane, and so it looks like I just flew in. And then I'm walking, and two guys jump out from between two of the hangars and grab me and mug me and tie me up and throw me in the trunk. And then it opens up. We're in the dungeon, which was a building built by Henry Ford. And we were in the basement, and it really looked like a dungeon. It was really interesting. But then they do the thing where you put up a sheet and a light, and you see the shadow, and they cut me open and get the drugs out. And no, it's a little 3 minute film. And the song was by Arlo Guthrie called Coming into Los Angeles, although he pronounces it differently. It says coming into Los Angeles. Anyway, yeah, we did that little film, but I've been doing video and film since high school, but sporadically. And I was in Michigan I was a camera operator for several local cable shows. Back then, cable, pretty much anybody could have a show.
Like
So
Wayne's World.
yeah, right,
Okay, yeah.
exactly. And there were some pretty cool ones. One of them, one of them was called Crystal's Motortown Cafe, because we were in Detroit. So they had a set that looked like a cafe. They had tables with the little napkin things and the ketchup and mustard and salt and pepper, and they had people come in and sit, so we had a live audience. It was only a few tables, but the way the cameras were set, you just saw a little bit of the people there and the waitress going by, so it looked real, but it wasn't. And they were just flats. We rolled them out. They're on wheels, so we rolled them out and set them up every time we shot, and then put them away afterwards. They had pictures on the wall that were screwed in, so they didn't move. And yeah, it was kind of cool. It was a little talk show, and they had musical guests. So after they interviewed the people, then they would do a set. And if it was, for TV, so it was timed. And if the person was still singing when the thing ended, they would just start rolling the credits over them doing their song. And yeah, so it was kind of a fun one. Most of them were pretty just really Aussie though. That was a fun one that was well done, but most of them were. And when I say well done, it was definitely homemade, but
Mhm.
pretty good production value.
That's
Um,
Is there any
Decent
time that
show.
you didn't do film or production?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of time between because I mean those shows. I think we shot once a month or something like that. I don't remember, but I was only really on a few shows at a time, and I don't really remember exactly, but yeah, there was a lot of time I was doing. I might have been doing like bar mitzvahs or other video. I did video for a recording studio. I did a lot of video stuff, but that really wasn't my main gig. That was all sporadic here and there. I
Oh,
did a lot of photography, but my main gig was graphic design.
okay.
That's what I did mostly. And then when I moved to Arizona in 2009, pretty much as soon as I got here. I was on Craigslist all the time looking for jobs, looking for work. I didn't know anybody and I didn't have a job. So I was looking desperately. And I took some weird jobs. I did delivered flyers door to door. But I found a graphic design job working for a magazine that was just launching. I was their first hire, and we ran that for 5 years. And I ended up huh, the uh, the guy that started the magazine knew that I was into video, so he wanted to start a TV show. So basically, I had been a camera operator on a TV show, but I didn't know how to make a TV show. So anyway, because of him, I learned how, and we made a TV show which ran on Channel 7 here for 5 years. And
Well, that's pretty cool. What
um,
was it called?
yeah, it was called AZCL TV. So he named everything. It was Arizona Sports and Lifestyle Magazine, which it was like 30% sports and the rest was lifestyle. So I really thought it was a poor choice of names. As a matter of fact, we had Guy Fieri on the cover, um, Jeff Bridges, um, Lady Gaga, all these people that have nothing to do with sports. We had a lot of sports people too, but you know what I'm saying? It was quite the mix, and a lot of people would look at it and think, "Oh, it's a sports magazine." But it was everything. I
Yeah, like a
mean,
kind of a
you
conflict of
know,
interest, or was like a confusing, like
well,
confusing to
just
people
for the
watching?
for the consumer looking at the magazine title, they would
Yeah.
think it's a sports magazine. So if they didn't, didn't look into the magazine, they might never know. But really, I mean, we had some great articles. Christopher Titus, um, I can't think, but just tons
Yeah.
of people. And the thing is, what we did was we would do the magazine. It was a quarterly magazine. And so we would do this TV show where we went out. It was a magazine style show. We went out and interviewed people. So I was at all kinds of events. Sorry about shaking the camera.
That's okay.
Um, but but yeah, just we did just pretty much everything.
Oh.
And
So
we
you were
had
just
some really
basically
good
just
advertisers.
you were just
What's that?
doing interviews. That was the show, and were you like the host?
Right.
Were you asking the
I
questions,
was
or
I was the crew.
okay?
Now I had some interns, I had some helpers here and there that helped me edit or helped me. I had a second camera a few times, but tell you what, I never got any footage I could use.
Oh
You're
no.
trying new people, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it was horrible. But um, but so I was, I mean, we interviewed so many different people, and so many different. I mean, we would go to a beer fest or a football game or um, the racetrack. Uh, just We interviewed the president of the Diamondbacks, the coach from the Cardinals.
Mhm.
Um,
So
I'm
did
I'm
you?
trying to think.
How would you get them to interview you?
Well, that's the thing. We had my business partner at the time, Joe Orr. He was in charge of the thing. It was his baby. He
Mhm.
came up with the idea. He cajoled us into doing the TV show. It was his. He was just a salesman. He was a talker. And he would just go and find and get us. He'd get us backstage passes and do everything. So
So would they
I
know
mean,
that you were coming to interview them, or would you just show up?
yes, yes. No, he would get all. It was all credentialed. We were all
Oh,
good. It
okay.
was all done legit. But he took care of that. He also took care of sales, collections. He took care of a lot. He got us all organized together because it was a small team for the TV show, but it was a big team for the magazine. I mean, it was a. I wish I had one with me.
Hmm.
It was a thick, full color, perfect bound magazine. Really nice magazine. I ran a magazine by myself, but it was, saddle stitched. I don't know if you know the difference, but
I
what
don't.
that means. But
What is the difference?
uh, the difference is a perfect bound has a flat spine.
And
The
it's like all
saddle stitch,
glued or something.
Yeah, the
Okay.
saddle stitch has just got staples in the back, it's just paper folded over with staples in the back.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no, but it was a nice magazine too. I wish I didn't think to bring anything with me. No, used to have some right over there. I don't see them right now. Not sure if they're around. But anyway, yeah. Uh yeah, but I've done a lot of productions. When I moved here, like I said, I got into that, and then I mean, I came here in 2009 in January, and by I think April we were doing the TV show. By by June, people were handing me their cameras and saying, "Please shoot my film," which was interesting because and then I just got here, and they had cameras. I don't know why they didn't want to run their own camera, but they wanted to make a movie, and they just kept handing me. And the first film I did won best picture at a film festival, so that felt good. But all of the awards I won, I know I was part of it. I mean, it's partly my shooting, but the main thing is the story, the writing. When you do good writing, you win awards. That's just how it is.
I
It's
think it definitely helps for sure.
and and so since 2009, I've been on hundreds of sets,
Yeah.
and plus done a lot of like red carpet and tons of events. And I'm a camera operator for um, uh, conventions and seminars and that kind of thing. So it's
Yeah,
it's a
which is
lot it's a lot different.
yeah, the content of those are probably typically a bit better. Because I wanted to ask you kind of from your faith and working on, all sorts of different projects, um how you do that. Like what's your mindset going
It
into
is
maybe a
weird. I I all right, this is a weird thing. I haven't talked about this in ages, but when I was 11, I had dreams that were super vivid, and I didn't understand them at the time. I didn't become a Christian until after I graduated high school, but those dreams stuck with me. Just I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 dreams, but they were super vivid, super clear, and stuck with me my whole life. And as time went on, I would be doing something and I would realize this is that dream.
interesting.
I dreamt this. This is coming true right now. And it was kind of freaky. And I realized soon after becoming a Christian, within the first couple of years, that the dreams were God speaking to me and telling me about my future. As a matter of fact, he showed me I would be going to the Southwest. I had no intention of ever leaving Michigan. Never, just never thought of it. And but when the time came, he moved me out here. But I realized that it was him because he had told me when I was 11,
Yeah.
when I wasn't a Christian.
What was that vision or that
Oh,
message?
it's
How
kinda weird because, like I said, it was really vivid and it stuck with me a long time, but as they come true, it's weird because after they come true, it's not as vivid, I don't remember it as well. But the main thing, I remember this huge house, and it had stairs at both ends. So you could go upstairs on one side, go across, and go down the other, and run through the house that way. And I remember, um, um upstairs in the middle, there was a window that you could look out, and it faced to the southwest. And uh, uh, um, it was like transported or whatever. All of a sudden, I was outside in that landscape that I was looking at, running to the southwest. Um, and and then I hated big churches, and I wasn't too fond of Baptist churches because all of the Baptists I had met after becoming a Christian would tell me things like they don't believe in speaking in tongues, they don't believe in the infilling of the Holy Spirit, they don't believe in miracles, they don't believe in this, they don't believe in that. And I would ask them, Why do you call yourself a believer? I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't believe,
If it
that's not, you know what I mean?
yeah, if you're
It's
not believing in
confusing to
anything.
me. But
Yeah.
anyway, somebody came up to me one day and said, "You should go to this church." It was a big Baptist church. They said, "You should go there because you're trained in video. You could be a camera operator there." And I thought about it, but I was a youth pastor at the time at a very, very tiny church. But they loved me. I loved it. It was great.
How old
The
were you at
kids,
this time?
how old was I?
Roughly, I guess.
This this is like the seven, let's see, 20 years to go.
Okay.
So,
So
which,
after
which I
the
hate to say,
after Y2K, but
yeah, it was. I remember I was turning 50,
okay.
and so
Okay.
yeah, I turned 50 during that. It was a 6-year period I was at that church. But the funny
Oh,
thing is, now this is one person telling me to go, and I'm like, I'm happy where I'm at, no reason to go. Then a little later, I run into another Christian friend of mine who says, and he went to that church. The other girl that told me to go, she didn't even go to that church. But I went, this guy goes to that church and he says, "You should come to my church." And I'm like, I'm happy where I'm at. He says, "Yeah, but you're trained in video. You could be on our video team." I'm like, I don't like big churches because you can go in late, leave early, and never challenge yourself. And 3 years later, you walk in and people are still asking you, "Is this your first time?" There's just
yeah.
too many people, you
That does
know?
happen. I like the big
So
churches because I could walk in and I could focus and pay attention. Like I don't walk in late, I don't leave early. But I went to a small church and I'd get caught in the hall from somebody that wants to talk to me and I'm like, I'd like to go into
yeah,
service. That's why I'm here.
right,
So like the
gotcha.
big ones, you kind of go in,
And
you get fed and you get your message, and then you can leave and then you can do other studying on your own afterwards.
well, I like the little churches
Mhm.
because you knew everybody, everybody knew you. It was really hard to like get away with anything. So you really had an accountability.
Yeah.
And I thought in the big church, you're going to lose that accountability. But these two people who didn't even know each other kept bugging me to go. And I'm like, all right, I'll pray about it. Well, when I say that, I don't just say it to say it, I do it. So I began praying about it. And every time I prayed about it, God would open me to like Nehemiah or something where they're building or rebuilding the temple, and he's trained the woodworkers to work in the wood. He trained the stone workers. You know what I mean? It's like he trained me in video. Now go do it. I'm like, okay. So I went and talked to my pastor, where I was a youth pastor, and I told him, and he sat there silent, and I didn't know what he was, I didn't know what he was thinking, whatnot. Finally, he said, "I believe God is telling you to go, and I don't want to stand in God's way." So I'm like, holy, I mean, that's something. I did not expect that at all. Um,
Well,
but
that's really good because you get churches that want to grow, but are afraid to help seed other churches, and it's like they get very selfish in their own.
yeah, and
Which
what
I've
they
been,
should be doing is raising people up to go do whatever God calls them to do.
yeah, and to get the
You
word
know?
out and to spread and develop
Yeah.
and yeah,
So
that's really nice that he
so yeah.
encouraged you to go.
So anyway, I joined the video team, and the video team, we had Bible studies together. We went out to eat together. We did other activities together. So they became my accountability group. And it was like, this is really cool. I'm going to, and this church did and does a lot of really good things. They supply fresh water to third world countries. They, do the shoebox things at Christmas. They do weekly outreach to prisons, to the homeless. They feed the homeless. They do all these different things, great things. Um, and there's so many people. It's 3,000 seat,
Hmm.
and they have two services on Saturday, two services on Sunday, and one on Wednesday. So with all that, they get a lot more than 3,000 people. So all of these people belonging to the church, they have tons of volunteers, and they get a lot done. They do a lot of really good stuff. And the pastor is so funny because when I went there, when I started, they were a Baptist church, but they left the Baptist church after I got there, and they went independent, and they believed in, the Bible basically. They didn't worry about, we're not going to like this part or that part. So it really was a really cool experience, and I know God led me there, and so I was there for a while. But here's the funny thing: this big church. I was on the camera team, so I would grab a camera. They had a control room upstairs. So I'd go to the control room, grab my camera, take it downstairs, put it on the tripod. Well, you could go up one side and across and down the other. And as I was doing it one day, I'm like, there's that window. It faces southwest. This is the big house. I just like, I
Oh
was kind of
my.
like, this is it. It was so wild. I'm like, and I was there 6 years on their team. And then God sent me out here to Phoenix, Arizona. And yeah, I didn't expect it. I mean, it wasn't till 2 weeks before I left that I was thinking maybe I would go. And then maybe a week before that I was sure that I was going. I wasn't even, it was like really fast. Everything happened and then I was here. It's just the way God works, a lot of things happen like really quick.
Yeah, it's a lot like the film industry. It's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Right, right.
Yeah,
But
just waiting,
yeah,
waiting,
but
waiting,
then when
waiting for
things
God,
happen, they
waiting,
go,
waiting. Oh, it's time to go. Yeah, and
yeah. So yeah, so it was really weird. I just, remember these things as they go. And actually one of the only things that hasn't happened that was in my dreams is war on US soil. I'm uh I'm sure it's coming. I just don't know when. I don't believe it'll be soon. I do believe right now we're going into a time of peace and prosperity like we've never seen, like this world has never seen. Um,
so you think you have
it's
like the gift of prophecy? Is it?
No,
Is what it would
I
be?
don't believe I'm a prophet. I believe
Yeah,
God told me some certain things. If I
yeah.
was a prophet, I would be telling people. As a matter of fact,
What is it when you can see the future? You're is
yeah,
that
it's
the?
like when God is giving you messages for others.
Yeah.
These messages were for me, and they were for yeah, just for my future.
Okay.
But I in 2006, 2007, my friend who's a drummer in Michigan would go and drum for Kim Clement when he would visit Detroit. And Kim was a modern day prophet. And that's the first time I ever heard anybody say Donald Trump will be president. He will serve 2 terms. He will build the wall, secure the border. He will, it just, it was just a list of things and it was all about Trump. And I'm like, when he first said it, because I was pretty skeptical. I didn't know if he was a real prophet or not, but I was going there basically to see my friend who was drumming with him, so I could hang out with my friend. And anyway, so I got to meet Kim Clement, and uh, hear his word like way back in 2007, telling me this stuff. And then I was still skeptical, but I thought I'm going to hang out to that and see what happens. Well, I watched one thing after the other come true that he had said. So um, after a while, I don't know when it hit me, but at one point I'm just like, he's a real prophet. This is real because it just things just kept happening. And now even it's to go back and watch the videos because they're on YouTube. Phenomenal, phenomenal. He even said there would be a time of 2 presidents, and I had no clue what he was talking about. But now we had a time of an elected president and an installed president. So we had a time of 2
Yeah.
presidents.
Maybe it's
Uh,
2028 we'll have two presidents. Who knows?
no, no, this was this that was it.
Yeah,
Biden
okay.
was the second president.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, in
Because I'm voting for Trump for the third time. Well,
and
fourth time.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
write him in
and he was.
2028.
But here's the funny thing: he's already been elected 3 times in a row.
Yeah,
He was elected 3 times in a row, and they stole that election.
yeah,
So if he if he gets elected again, that's 4 times. Um, but I don't. All I heard was, all Kim said was he's going to serve 2 terms. He never said he was going to serve three. So I think somebody else is coming after, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was JD Vance. He's a pretty solid character, and people seem to like him, and he's doing the right stuff. So
yeah. We'll see.
hopefully,
We'll see in 3 years who the contender is,
yeah.
because I think it's still
But
too early to really think
time,
about that. Yeah,
by that time, America is going to be doing so well,
yeah,
and the left is losing bad now because more and more things are being exposed. They're they're actual crimes, not made up crimes like they do for Trump.
right.
They're actual crimes, actual cover-ups, they're lies. They're all going to be exposed, and people are going to realize that they've been being lied to all this time, like for decades,
Oh
and
yeah,
we've been raw. They've been stealing from us. They've been stealing from us for over a century. They've been stealing our money. When we see how much money comes in, and it was there all the time, but they were taking it for themselves,
yeah,
keeping it from us. When people see that, nobody's going to want to vote for the left anymore. There will be people, but you know what I'm saying? The
yeah,
great majority of people are, they're going to be out of the game because they'll be like an independent that gets, they get a few percentage, but they're not going to get the numbers they were getting. Plus, they don't have the illegals voting for them. They're not going to be there.
yeah. They're gonna be
I mean, there's
struggling
just
during
so many
election for
things.
sure. Yeah. How has this
The
like? How has it changed your? Because you're on Facebook, I see you
Yeah,
comment and speak the truth.
yeah.
Um, how has that impact you? Uh, being on
Well,
sets and stuff.
I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but it's impacted me a lot of ways. One, just knowing the truth can empower you. And so I feel empowered to speak the truth because I know the truth. When you
Hmm.
don't, when I was in high school, I didn't understand politics. I didn't, and I was clueless on it. And I was a hard lefty. I seriously was radical left. Um, and
Yeah, it's like you
I
just
didn't
don't
really
know better,
understand.
right? Yeah.
Right. But in the 80s, I began learning, and well, I became a Christian in the mid 70s, and after I graduated, and then over time, things just became clearer and clearer, and it was like I was watching. As a matter of fact, I remember watching television back in the 80s and saying out loud, "Look what those Democrats are doing. They're siding with the terrorists. They were going and meeting with terrorists and siding with them." And I'm like, why are they doing that? And the people in the room, you know, they didn't get it.
Yeah, it's crazy they've been
So
doing it
I
for that
uh,
long. That's a long time.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like and I was learning a little bit at a time. In the 80s, I knew a little bit more and a little bit more. And actually, Pat Robertson, um, he helped a lot because he did a grassroots movement that he had books printed, he had magazines and stuff. He had all this information that he was getting out to the people that taught you simple stuff about our government. You know, people think that it's complicated and it's not. Our government is really not complicated. They make you think that politicians are the only ones who can understand it. But all they, our founders made ordinary people politicians. So anybody, any adult, can run for office. If you're 18 or older, you can run for office. I think it's 18. Um, it was when I was in
Mm.
Michigan. I don't know, but a friend of mine, when he was 18, was running for governor, or mayor. He was running for mayor of the town. That's right. He was running for mayor of the town he lived in.
Did he win?
But
No.
no, he did not.
It's a good try though, I bet.
but
Yeah.
but he could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He could run. Anybody can. I don't remember what party affiliation he ran on or anything. I just, like I said, I was clueless. I was hoping McGovern would be president. So anyway, yeah, he's the first politician I heard swear out loud. He swore to this little kid. He didn't know his mic was on, and he
Oops.
swore like, yeah, like to a little kid, like 7 years old maybe, and it was bad. But yeah, just I was for him and against Nixon.
Mm.
And it took me years, years, and years and years to find out that Nixon was actually a good president. He just made a mistake. You know?
Right,
He
that's the
made
word on the street.
he you know, there's a funny story I heard on, Paul Harvey's The Rest of the Story, and this kid he was dating the girl across the street, and he suspected that she was seeing his brother behind his back. And so, he went in the attic and, hooked these little, alligator clips to the phone line and listened in, and sure enough, she's talking to his brother on the phone. She's dating his brother, and the thing is, that guy who went up in the attic and did that, that was the first time anyone had ever done a wiretap, and it was Richard Nixon. He invented the wiretap.
And that came back and bit him in the butt.
Yeah,
Oh my, that's
it's
hilarious.
just so funny.
What a
Just never thought about it. He's the inventor of it. But
yeah.
anyway, but yeah, I was really against Nixon and really thought he should be punished. And it's just like the people today, and that's why I understand these people.
Mhm.
I'm not out to, do them harm or wish harm upon them. I'm hoping they will open their eyes. And so that's why I've been telling them for the last at least 12 years, telling them the truth about what's coming. And
Yeah.
I haven't changed what I've been saying.
Because 'Cause you're very nice about
I
it.
what's that?
You're very nice about it.
Oh, well,
So,
I
you
try to
just speak the truth,
be.
right? So,
Yeah, because it shouldn't be an argument. I tell people all the time, politics, science, and religion should all be quests for truth.
yes.
So you gotta look at the evidence. And what people don't do is their own research. They let the TV tell them what to believe, or, if
Or
Stephen
the
Colbert said it, it must be true, especially since, Jimmy Kimmel backed it up, it's amazing. But yeah,
yeah, and the whole film group, they're just a big echo chamber of that same thought of the and it's like, being an artist, it's almost like you have to be a liberal, but you don't. Like as you and I, like
well,
we create and we're not
yeah.
liberals.
Well, the funny thing is, I I remember one time I was on a project. And there's a group of us sitting around talking. We're, on a break, whatever, just hurry up and wait stuff. So we're sitting around waiting for things to happen. And one of the guys says, "So who did you vote for?" And everybody in the group like looks at it. And one of the guys says, "Trump." Next guy, Trump. Next guy, Trump. The whole group. Nobody in the group was a liberal. So and I
Hmm.
found this many times in many different groups. You'd be surprised how many conservatives are there, but they're not speaking up. And I don't speak up a lot on set because you don't want to have an argument on set.
Yeah, you got to keep it
And
professional.
it's happened though. I
Yeah.
was on a set. We were shooting in Globe, and one of the guys started saying stuff, and I said, "Look, they're shooting upstairs and we're making too much noise, we're gonna get in trouble." It just kept going, going. So we just got into it. It was like, I don't remember, like 4 or 5 of us, and we were getting pretty heated, and it was fun to me, And that's another thing. You can have a heated argument with somebody and still like them.
Yeah.
You know, I,
I do it all the time.
Growing up, I did it with my brothers and sisters all the time. It's not like I don't like you anymore. because we had an argument. So, and people are so surprised at that sometimes. But I saw Reagan did the same thing. He would be having shouting matches with somebody, and then afterwards they'd go out and have a beer.
Hmm.
It's just, we're friends. We just don't agree on certain things. And I keep telling people to just watch what happens. And even right now, when you can see all these really good things happen, they don't see it. I'm like, look at all the money that's coming in from the tariffs. Remember when they told you that tariffs were going to destroy the economy? Well, look what's happening. The tariffs are bringing in tons of money, and didn't see that. It's not happening. It's like, well, because
Yeah, and
the
it's
propaganda.
and it's not even just the tariffs, but it's making companies move their production here, so that way
Well, the tariffs
not
is
only
what's
does it
doing that.
save money and it brings money here, but then it gives people jobs here. So it's like a
Yep.
trifecta of
It's
positive.
it, it is. And what in Donald Trump's first term, he gave us the greatest economy ever within in less than 2 years.
Yeah,
In less than two
just
years.
before
That's
COVID.
when
So
that's when they started the riots, and then they brought in the vaccine. They wanted to, you know, they wanted to destroy the economy, and they did by um, shutting
stopping it.
everything down
Yeah.
because of COVID. They didn't have to do that. There was a flu bug. They
Hmm.
manufactured it, brought it in, and I don't know if you remember this, but Donald Trump said we've got to limit travel to the United States from certain countries where the virus is,
I
widespread.
remember that. Yeah.
And they said he was racist.
Yep.
They didn't want to stop the spread. They wanted to bring it in. They brought it in on purpose. It's not the first time they've done something like that. Um, but but yeah, they brought it in. And then they got all these vaccines, which weren't really vaccines. They don't fit the description
And
of a vaccine.
poison, essentially.
Um,
I mean, it's what caused people to die.
yeah, it
Um,
is, and they killed a
so
whole lot of
yeah,
people, and people are still going out and getting their vaccines and boosters and everything. And even though they keep changing their story,
yeah,
if you take the vaccine, you can't get it and you can't spread it. And then,
yeah,
oh well, you maybe still get it. You might have need of like 15 boosters,
yeah.
and then you're still going to get it, and you're still going to spread it, but it won't be as bad.
How
It
was it
was
for you on set having to deal with that?
Well, luckily, I was only turned down for a couple of jobs because yeah, a couple of jobs because of it. I was turned down for a couple of film jobs and a couple of camera operator jobs at convention type things for not having the vax.
Yeah,
Um, as far as being on set, people, really didn't ask or whatever, never didn't come up. So it was fine.
yeah. It's like once
Uh,
you get on set, then it's a different story. It was just getting
yeah,
on set and
getting
passing
there.
their
Yeah,
little
there was only a couple of
questionnaire, and
jobs that said, yeah, only a couple of jobs that said I needed the vax, and I said, well, then can't work for you.
yeah, same.
uh,
So,
yeah.
did you
Uh,
have you have you seen your friend count go down or up? Uh,
okay,
from
how it
talking to
affected
people.
me?
Yeah.
They shut. I had 2,000 uh, friends on Facebook. I'm
Hmm.
gonna do friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, many of them I knew, but and relatives and whatnot. But there, of course, you get a lot of people that you don't know or never met in person.
Or you met them
But
once and you friended them and you moved on and
yeah,
you're like,
well,
Where do I know this actor
one
from?" Oh.
one year, one year I was in Facebook's jail for a month, every other month. So 6 months
Oh
out of
yeah.
the year, I could not use my Facebook account. Eventually, that account went away. They just took it down. I know that my main account is gone now. I'm using a secondary account where I have about 500 friends, and I've been trying to find the people and get them back on, but some of them, I've sent requests to that haven't, replied, and I know how that is because I don't go through my friend requests very often to see
Mhm.
who's on there. Every once in a while, I do when I find somebody. I'm like, oh man, I haven't talked to them in ages. And then I get him on as a friend, and I don't talk to him anyway. I'm horrible. Uh, yeah, we really should, take the time to talk to people. I every year I find somebody that I will call and talk to just because I haven't talked to them in ages.
Hmm.
And I did that to one of my high school friends um, about a year and a half ago, and 2 weeks later she was dead. She
Oh
was gone.
my.
So yeah, so I got her just in time, right?
Yeah.
I was very glad that I made that call. I mean, we talked probably an hour and a half on the phone because we hadn't talked in ages, and
You think that's like the Holy
um,
Spirit speaking to you and like encouraging you to reach out to
yeah,
people?
I honestly think it was the Holy Spirit. It would happen more frequently.
Yeah.
It's just be myself looking at life, seeing it pass by very quickly and
Hmm.
saying, I got to do it. So I do it.
Yeah.
Cause it's not a natural thing for me. I have to force myself to do it. When I do it, it's awesome. I get a hold of somebody and we talk and it's really fun and really great. And we catch up and then I don't talk to him again. Is like the next year, it's somebody else I call. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, as a matter of fact, if anybody sees this and they've talked to me more than that, feel very lucky. Unless they called me, then. And I say that too, because I remember somebody being really mad at me because I never called them. I said, the phone works two ways.
Exactly. Exactly.
Give me a call. Um,
So when
but
you're maybe thinking about like the Holy Spirit and how it um, speaks to you and all that, when you get a call for a film, because like I feel like so many films locally or just the independent film, they're so anti-Christian, right? They're over sexualized, they're over
yeah, yeah,
drug
as
like
a matter of fact, it's weird because I remember, that's one of the thing about the dreams when I was 11.
mhm,
One of the things was I was in the dream, I was in the film industry. Well, I mean, I was 11 at the time. I didn't make my first film till I was in high school, and then I didn't make another film for who knows how long, I was doing video and whatnot later, like when I was married, after, plenty after high school, but I wasn't in the film industry. I worked on a few films, um, um, usually not as camera operator, but actually kind of doing a lot of different stuff. They might throw me in as an actor. They might throw me in as a sound guy, or you know what I
yep,
mean. It's like I did a lot of different stuff. So I did do camera some, but mainly it was just real sporadic and real small stuff. For a while, I was on a web series when web series were new. But yeah, it was just uh, uh, not a lot of stuff until I moved here. It was when I moved here and 2009 I got into the film industry, and the next thing I knew, I was a filmmaker. I came here as a graphic designer, and within months, I was a filmmaker. And that's what I was doing mostly all the time, and that's what I've done for years now, until a few years ago, I decided to not do so much in the film and TV stuff and start doing more of the camera operator stuff for the corporate world because it makes money. The films often don't make you anything, so it's very tough.
hmm,
But what we're talking about is the morality.
yeah,
I very quickly found that I was doing horror films and that there would be scantily clad women on set. That it was a lot of weird stuff. And in this dream, that I was in the film industry, it's like all of a sudden I'm in the film industry. I'm like, wow, God was right. I was in the film industry, but I really thought it meant I was going to be doing something positive and really good. And it just hasn't happened. I've been doing all this weird stuff. So occasionally I do something that's Christian based or has a at least somewhat positive message. But a lot of the stuff I do just is, yeah, it's just like witchcraft or horror or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and
Have
yeah,
Would you
and
ever
I
turn
end up
anything
it's
down for that, or?
well, it's funny because of the way I get hired. People ask me if I'm available a certain date or a certain group of dates, and I will say yes or no. They don't tell me that all this stuff is going on.
Hmm.
So if I show up on set and they're doing something different, I gave them my word that I'm going to be there, so I stay. But yeah, it feels weird. It feels weird. I just know. But the other thing is, they're adults. I can't tell them what to do.
Hmm.
I, but I still, it's like I'm hoping that I'm a little bit of light in the,
The
in
darkness.
the
Yes.
darkened
Yeah.
corners. Um,
Yeah, I fall into
so,
that trap a
um,
lot as well, where it's like, "Are you available?" "Yes, I'm available." "All right, we're doing a film." "All right." And I should ask more questions, but then I get there and it's like,
yeah,
"Wait, this isn't what."
I think there should be a formula. Even, because even with casting, with asking for crew and whatnot, with casting especially, they should tell you, okay, we're doing a production. It's this type of film. It's these dates. It pays this much. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah,
should give you the information.
just be
But
straight
yeah,
up
a
forward
lot of
about it.
times I have been hired on many projects where they say, "Hey, are you available these days?" And I say yes, and they say, "Well, okay, be here at this time." I don't know if I'm a camera operator, sound guy, a lighting guy, an extra. I don't know if I'm a PA or what. I have no clue. I just show up with all my stuff and and it's always worked out.
Yeah.
It's always worked out. Um, I have had, I not that every time, I've been on projects where I've had equipment failure or other things that really frustrate the production, but I haven't come very, very rarely have I ever come unprepared with, without having stuff. I've been on shoots and they're like, "Wish we had one of these," and I go out in my car and get one. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I call it my grip car. I just keep this stuff with me, and so yeah,
Yeah, my
it's
stuff
been
has
good.
grown so much out of my car. I can't have everything in my car. Like I used to do that same thing. It's like, oh, I'll have a couple things that are from like the lighting department or grip department in my truck with my audio stuff. And but now that I've grown
Yeah.
so far, really kind of away from audio, yeah,
Uh,
it's tough to be that
yeah.
guy anymore.
Yeah. I've had a lot of stuff broken, stolen, or
Hmm.
lost over the years, and so now I have a little gadget box that, the little connectors and adapters and whatnots. And unfortunately, I used to have a ton of stuff in there that just isn't there anymore. I've had cables. I've had cables go bad, but I've had cables disappear on me. I've had microphones disappear. I've had stands disappear. I had a little canvas bag of tripods. They're little tripods, but I
Hmm.
used them for mounting my Zoom recorders or I have the Pico mic. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's
Yeah,
a really nice little clip-on mic. It's
yeah, I've heard of
beautiful.
those. Those are pretty nice.
I mount those on there. So the receiver.
Hmm.
So yeah, I had them and the whole bag is gone. The whole bag is gone. My boom pole, I had a nice boom pole, and that's gone.
Oh no.
So and it's not always stolen. A lot of times it's PAs who are helping you pack. They don't know what belongs to who,
Oh yeah.
and everybody's telling, "Let's hurry up and wrap up and get out of here." So they're throwing it in cars and vans and whatever, and the stuff disappears. And I know when I end up with stuff that doesn't belong to me, I take pictures, and usually we have a group text. So I'll just throw pictures in the group text and say, "Is anybody missing this?" And the funny thing is, very rarely have I had anybody say, "Oh, that's mine." It's like I ended up with
Weird.
something,
Yeah.
and I don't. I mean, it's. I don't think I've ever ended up with something valuable. I have a plastic cup.
Yeah.
I don't know who it belongs to, but now I guess it's my plastic cup. But I've lost stuff where, like, hey, have you seen my hard drive? I got a 1 terabyte, uh, 2000 megabits per second hard drive, and it's missing. And it had footage on it, and now the film can't be edited without it. And nope, nobody knows where it went. So
Oh,
it's gone.
that
The
sucks.
funny thing is, I walked into the room where my stuff was, and I
Yeah.
saw it. I saw everything, and then I went out and came back within a half hour, maybe 20 minutes later, and that stuff was not there. Might have been 15 minutes.
That's
It was,
terrible.
and it was there. And it's like, it was several things that went missing. And I got some of it back, but that drive is still gone. And, we booked that location. We got all these people out there. We shot, and drive went away.
Yeah, because that's not just like $100 drive or whatnot. That's hundreds or thousands of dollars of
Well,
footage. That
it
like
actually was like $130.
yeah, but that footage
But
that
yeah, the
you
footage
know
is gone, so you can't edit the film we just shot.
yeah, and all that
So,
time and money
so
that
that's
was spent to make that footage
yeah, yeah.
gone with it.
I'd had I had some nice shotgun mics that I don't have anymore. I have one shotgun left. And like I say, my boom pole. I have I have an old boom pole, which is basically a room handle. My first
back
one,
back to the early days. Yeah,
yeah. It's like you just gaff that on the thing,
yeah.
gaff your mic onto there. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun stuff like
So,
that. But actually the mic holder, I can't even think of what it's called, but it actually screws onto that. The threads are the same as a boom pole. So
mhm.
um yeah, so that it does have a hand holder, but I have done some really wild
uh,
stuff to make things work.
yeah. What are you
Um
doing at the
but anyway,
studio there?
studio here.
Yeah.
This is a tiny studio. Should I try this? I don't know how to turn the thing on, but I can do this. We're just gonna twirl
If you
this
want to
thing.
take a video of it later and send it to me, or you can do that
And
now. Yeah.
we'll just twirl it
Yeah.
around
Okay.
here. This is the desk. This is the
Yeah.
desk. This is the where the switcher is. I don't have all the cameras on. One camera is on. But we have right now we have three cameras hooked up. I have another camera, and it's just one little room.
Yeah.
But we do TV talk shows and um, podcasts. It's mainly podcasts,
Yeah.
mainly because that's what people want to do, and they don't book. I love doing the talk shows personally. I like to do a TV talk show where it's got a specific time. I like doing half-hour shows. Honestly, you're only talking for 20 minutes on a
For television.
half-hour talk
Yeah.
show. So so you sit down and talk with somebody for 20 minutes. You put two people, one person at the desk, one person in the guest chair, and you sit and talk, and for 20 minutes, and you got a show. You do that four times in a day. Now you got four shows. And I mean you could do that in an afternoon easy, in
Yeah.
4 hours. Um and then you do that 3 days in a row, and you've got a season.
Yeah.
But people don't do it. They come and they'll do their podcast, and their podcast might be an hour, 3 hours. Um and that's good. I like podcasts, and they really work. But
Here you are.
there's a difference. There's a difference. We have the switcher. We've got, like I say, three cameras. We've got a teleprompter. I don't really like teleprompters. When I do my shows, I do bullet points on a whiteboard. They
Yeah.
just sit there, so you know what you're going to talk about. You can talk from the heart. You don't
Right.
need a script. You don't want to be reading. You just there's the next bullet point. You talk about that, and move on. So that's just the way I like to
Well,
do it because it's real natural. and um, real heartfelt, and I've done probably 7 different shows here, but I don't release them until I have 13 episodes. I've got maybe 4 episodes of one, 3 of another. I think the most I have is 7 for one, show, and they want to do 2 of them over again. So so mainly
Yeah.
I have 5. So I really don't have any show on the air at the moment. And I haven't really nobody's come back in a while. So
So where's
um
it? What's it airing on?
well, I would go to streaming outlets as soon as I get
Okay.
one. Well, like I say, we had the show on channel 7 for a while, and what I learned by doing the TV shows is that the network or the station, they get promises all the time. People say, "Oh, I'm going to make a show," or they
Hmm.
say, "I've got a pilot. I did a pilot, so here's my pilot." But they never go past that. They never go past talking, or they never go past the first episode, or maybe 2 episodes, but they're not consistent. And so I learned that you tell them, "Look, I've got 13 episodes right here in the can, just take them and air 'em in order." And, they're numbered 1 through 7. And, they like that. That gives them peace of mind. They know they've got something for that slot, and they treat you better. Um, so when you give them 13 shows and you give them a whole season, they're very happy. They know they've got for this season, they've got it done. And then you work 3 days the next month and you've got another season. You work 3 days the next month, you know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
can have a year's worth of stuff in no time. And I do half-hour weekly shows. So,
Do you get
it just
compensated
kind
from
of
the?
makes sense.
Do,
Well, we get revenue share, or we can have our own commercials that, we sell. We can bake into the show.
hmm.
We can advertise. It advertises our own stuff. So there's a lot of ways to use that. There's 8 minutes, is it? 8 minutes of commercials, 6 to 8 minutes, depending. But you've got time. If you're doing 30-second commercials and you're using 8 minutes, you got 16 commercials.
Yeah.
So
So it's all up to you, really.
yeah, yeah. And I was doing them in 5-minute increments. Well, 2 5s and 2 7s. That gave us 22 minutes. So
Can you change that
but
up as well, or do they want you to have that
I
structure?
have the half hour. I have the
Yeah.
half hour. I do with it whatever I
Whatever.
want. If you're doing it on a network, like, if you're doing it on channel 7, you get 28 and a half minutes. And then the station gets a minute and a half.
Of their own
But
promo and stuff
doing
like
it
that.
doing it on the streaming outlets, you get the half hour. You do with it what you want. If you want to put time in there for commercials, you tell them and they will fill those spots and you'll get revenue share. But if you want to fill them up with your own commercials, you can do it that way. I like to do a mix. So I have a little of each. And I do like promoting my own stuff. Uh, so yeah, there's that.
Do they do the revenue share similar to like how YouTube does like a certain number per thousand or?
It's Yeah, yeah. It's funny because the different ones do it differently. Tubi is different than Netflix, is different than Hulu. But they do all um have their way of doing it and have how much you get and whatnot. As a matter of fact, like Netflix, they got bigger and bigger and gave you less and less. um, YouTube did the same thing. In the beginning, people were making buku bucks off of YouTube, and then YouTube decided they wanted to keep more of that money, which is sad if you ask me. I think the money should go to the people that are creating the product.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I own the store. I'm going to sell this for you, and I'm going to take a little cut. I'm not going to take the bulk and give you a little cut of your product. But, it's the way they do it. But you can get more money in certain places. I know people that have movies on YouTube. Um, I don't or I'm not on YouTube, on Tubi,
Okay.
and I don't know how much you've watched Tubi, but there's a lot of really, really low quality movies on Tubi.
Really?
And those people are making money. Yeah, they're
Wow.
making money. Now there's good stuff on there too. You can go on Tubi and find really good movies,
Hmm.
and it's really hit and miss. Some of them you can tell by looking at the cover, the poster, that it's gonna be bad. But, but yeah, you can you I mean, I've watched some stuff where you start watching it and go, "Oh, yeah, never mind." But, some stuff that even it's not high quality, but it's still, fun entertainment and, you will watch the whole thing. If you watch the whole thing and watch the commercials, they get paid. And you don't
Hmm.
have to stay in the room and actually watch the commercials.
Right.
That's the time when you run into the kitchen and grab something to eat or something, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
It's not like
so,
Pandora where they ask if you're still watching
right.
because then they can't
Although,
prove that their
yeah,
listeners are
if
hearing the
you
commercials.
wait long enough, you'll get that.
Yeah.
If you just let it run,
Yeah.
if you wait long enough, you'll get that message. But yeah, and I think that's the TV wanting to shut down more than the network you're
Well,
watching.
if I
But
was the
anyway,
advertiser, I'd be wanting to know if my commercial is actually getting watched.
yeah.
Right.
Well, the
So,
funny thing is, I like to get my steps in. Now I just realized I don't have my phone in my pocket. I don't know what the heck I did with it. I'm looking
uh,
around for it and I don't see it. That's
that's,
not a good thing. Huh.
that's-
Anyway, but I like to get my 10,000 steps in a day, and I actually got 30,000 steps in the other day, and I never left the house. I got that just walking around the house.
yeah.
But I like to, when the commercial comes on, get up and move. Just get up and move. Sitting for too long isn't good. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about getting one of those desks that you can sit at, but you can stand up and raise it so you can stand at it. And because a lot of times I'll do webinars, I'll attend a webinar and I'll get up. I got my wireless headphones and I'll just walk around while that's going on. But I want to run back and take a screenshot when they show a nice slide or something is something I want to remember. Um, and it's hard because I'll have the keyboard like sitting in the seat or something. I have to bend over and hit the keyboard to get that screenshot. I'd like it to be up high where I can, just walk up and hit it. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's just for me getting movement. I'm old, so
Got to keep
I
moving.
I what's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just yeah, I was getting so stiff. As a matter of fact, a few years back, I was having horrible back pain, lower back pain. I was getting sciatica. I was getting the pain that shoots down your leg. Um, just horrible pain. And when I'd be operating a camera, you got to be smooth and whatnot. And I was on one job, and this was really good. We had 7 cameras, and we were taping. We weren't showing anything live. We weren't streaming. We weren't showing anything on a
No
screen.
iMac or
We were
anything. Yeah.
just taping. But I got this pain, and I just jerked, and the camera went up to the ceiling. And the guy that hired me and was running the whole thing, he came, he just looked at me and smiled. He said, "It's okay, got it covered. Just cut to somebody else."
Yeah.
So I was so glad of that. He's a really good guy. But anyway,
Your back's better.
um, I back. I was at one seminar as a camera operator, and it was all these people like chiropractors and masseuses and just all these different types of medical, alternative medicine type people. And this guy, when we were leaving, he gave me a thing called a wobble disc, and it looks like two um, frisbees put together, and you just sit on it and wiggle your back, and it loosens up your lower back. And I'm telling you, less than 5 minutes, 3 minutes on that thing, and I'm good for months,
Yeah.
literally.
I got one of those. It's like
It's
I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but it's more of a disc. It's like a ball, but it's flattened, and then you can sit on
So
it,
it's like
and
two
you
frisbees.
stretch, yeah, and you stretch your back out,
Yeah,
and
it
then
it lubricates, it loosens up and lubricates your joints back there,
yeah,
and you're fine.
yep.
And I did it, actually, I was sitting slumped in the chair for a while, and, my back was getting sore, and I realized it, and I thought, "I better use that thing." So I used it today for, like, a minute, and fine.
Nice. Yeah, you can get
It's
like
so
a
funny.
well, they got like stools with those on the bottom, so you have to keep your balance the whole time. It's almost like
Oh,
sitting on a medicine
yeah,
ball or
interesting.
one of those
Yeah, I actually had
exercise
a
balls.
ball for a while that I sat on for my desk chair.
Yeah.
But, there was the neighbor next door, they had a little girl, and, I don't know, I liked her. I just popped that ball over the fence to her, and I never saw it again. That was fine with me, yeah. Um,
Eh.
but, yeah, I was actually thinking about that this morning, that I should buy a new one. I should buy a new ball
Yeah, for your
for,
back.
there. Yeah.
Keep
I
that core
had one of
strength
those
up.
kneeling chairs. What's that?
Keep that core strength up.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I gotta get that. Now, uh, I was, uh 187 pounds, and I had a 38-inch waist. Now I'm 165 pounds and I have a 32-inch waist. So I've been working at it.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing. I I wrote a book. When I started, I wanted to write a book. I didn't know what I was going to write about, but I wanted to write a book. And I have a friend who's into fitness. And so I thought, well, I'll write a book. We can write a book together, and we'll, our both of our names on it. We'll both make money, help us both. So I got the book. I did it all and got it published. And it's a fitness book. And then I was showing somebody I know, I'm like, look, I got this fitness book. And they looked at me, looked at the book, looked at me and said, you wrote a fitness book? And I thought, maybe I should get in shape. So I looked the part. So that's when I started. That was May of last year. So, May of last year is when it was published. So I really didn't get that feedback for like 2 months, and then started working on it. And I'm not like a workout guy. I don't like do workouts. I just do certain things now that I didn't do before, like walking, drinking more water. I have, I don't know if you know what uh, a gyro ball is.
Mm.
It's a ball with a gyroscope inside of it,
Okay.
and you get that thing spinning, and it just causes resistance, and you tense up, and it's really good for actually from here down.
Okay.
Your fingers, your hands, so the whole thing, it really strengthens that. And I do, sets and strikes for conventions as well. And so, that's a lot of work where you unload trucks and load trucks, and then you gotta set up the equipment and
Hmm.
tear down the equipment. So we're setting up truss and lights and, speakers and
Staging and
just,
yeah.
yeah, right. So it's a big job. Sometimes you got like 30 people, sometimes 60 people on your team, and sometimes there's a bunch of teams. So, it's a lot of work, it's physical work, and I've always been the weakest link. I've been the weakest guy on the team, or at least that's what I thought. I actually found out there were people even weaker than me, but I always thought, I'm the weakest link, and I don't wanna be that. I don't wanna be a burden. I wanna be,
Valuable.
um want them to be happy that they hired me.
Yeah.
I want to be a good worker, and I want to be a strong worker. I want to be able to do the work. So, this has helped me a ton. So I've been able to do things that I wasn't able to do before, which is really good. And, yeah, it's really been, it's really
Yeah.
been a journey, and, I'm still working at it. But my stomach, back when I was heavier, people would talk about belly dancing, and I would say, "My belly dances." Uh,
All on its
but,
own. Yeah.
it still does some, but it's so much smaller than it was. I
Good.
had I had big bulges on the sides. I had this shelf, you know, it wasn't a flat shelf where I could set something, but it was out there.
Yeah.
and it is so much better.
Good.
And it's getting better all the time. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's good. So I'm really glad I wrote that book. But the funny thing is I was hoping to have 12 books published
Mhm.
by the end of the year. That's the only book I published. And then I published 6 more books, but they're all coloring
You
books.
got to write a book about how to publish 12 books. That way
And
people be like,
it, it
"You write 12 books?" You'd be like, "No, I have to now." But
it is so easy and so quick. And I would be glad to tell people how to do it. I'm glad to help people do it. I'll be glad to help you get a book published. The thing about having a book is you get it published. It's totally free. It's free to write. It's free. I design my own. You can use Canva. You can use the free Canva account, and but you can design the book, get it published. You can do it in a day, in an afternoon. You can write and publish your book same day, and it's free, totally free.
I was gonna have
And
ChatGPT
then
write my book.
you can do that. You
Yeah.
can do that. What I do is I go to ChatGPT and I say, look, I'm writing a book with this title on this topic, and I need a good outline for the book. And it gives me the outline. And now I can I keep that outline in my notes. And so I just tap my phone. I think of something, I tap my phone, I go to the chapter that I want to talk about, and I just start talking to the phone and it does the typing.
Yeah.
So
And then you
you can
take
you
that
can do it that way.
transcript and take it back in the ChatGPT and say, "Make me sound smart."
Exactly, only I
Hmm.
don't take it back to
Okay. That's
ChatGPT, I take it to Claude.
okay.
I take it to Claude. Claude writes better, more
Mm,
like a human.
okay.
Um, and there are others. There's so many of them now. I use Gemini. And as a matter of fact, when I first started trying them all out, I used Gemini and I didn't like it. But now they keep all of them. They just keep doing new releases and they're better and better. And AI is growing knowledge wise at a phenomenal rate. It is insane what it's doing.
Yeah, Elon says it'll be
And
2026 by the time it's like what the singularity thing.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But um, but now I use Gemini and I use it through Google AI Studio because Google AI Studio is free. So they have all these tools in there, and so you can use them all for free. And and they have Gemini, and Gemini is the deep sea. If you want to do some research, it does the deep seek. So you ask it a question, it's going to go all over the web and does the deepest research. As far as all the ones I know, it does the deepest
Mm.
research. And so that's what I use that one for. So if I'm writing a book on something, and I write how-to books. Um, and so I use Gemini for the research. I use Claude to write things like a human. And I use chat to get me my outline, so there's a lot of different things. And sometimes if I can't come up with a good title, I'll say, hey, give me 10 or 20 titles, for a book on this topic. And it'll do what it does is it gives you a title and subtitle, and it gives you, however many you asked for. And so I'll look at those and I'll do a mix and match thing, and name them that way, or I'll just come up with my own. A lot of times, I've always been good at wordplay, so a lot of times I just come up with my own. I'm doing a wine guide, and it's called Bestseller, CELLAR. So
Mhm.
bestseller. And it's got pictures of wine glasses on the front. Now I used a stock photo
Mhm.
for the cover. I used a stock photo for the cover of my fitness book, but the wine guide isn't quite done yet. Now, here's the other thing. I said that you can do a book in an afternoon, but I see what people are doing is they'll go and do their book in Word, format it in Word, then upload that as their interior, and then do the Canva cover, and they're done, and they sell a PDF of that, and that's their book, and it's perfectly legal. It's legit. They're selling good information, and they're making tons of money. Me, I spend months. making sure that the formatting is, I pick the font, I pick, and I don't do it in Canva. I'm doing it in InDesign. So I'm doing the inside formatting of the book. I'm doing I'm tweaking the writing. I'm getting all the artwork in there. I'm trying to make it look beautiful. I'm trying to make it, and the first book took me months and it doesn't have any artwork in it. I really should have illustrations, but I don't. I'm going to do a second edition that's going to have personal stories and illustrations in it. Right now, it's basically it's good information. I gave the book to people who are into fitness and said, read this over. And they told me, each one told me it has information that they didn't know. They're into fitness and the information they didn't know. It was good information and it was well organized, so it's like it's a good book, but it's basic information, how to do that. This is what you should do. This is why, you should be careful when you do this and whatnot. So it's good information. Well, it's a good book, but I want to do a second edition that has more to it. And my wine guide, it's not even, I don't know what it is, like 30 pages, 40 pages. And I think I'm going to make it into more pages. Um, um, but I'm almost done. I thought I was done and I sent it to a friend. I only sent it to one person. He sent it back with changes and I'm like, yeah, I should do that.
Mm.
So now I'm working on it again, but I'm working on so many other things that um yeah, I haven't really done much with it. I did make some of the changes and I'm thinking I'm going to put it out as a first edition and then make some of the other changes later. But the changes they're not necessary. They're just gonna make it better. The other thing I thought is one of the things he wanted me to do, I thought I can do that as an infographic and include it. Also, I'm creating more products. Um, I'm doing I'm gonna be selling fine art.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that the wine people might like fine art. So
Mm,
they're yeah, so I'm gonna put a little ad in the back for
yeah.
fine art, for my fine art products.
Cross
And
pollinating your
yeah,
creation.
yeah. So then I'll have the fine art plus I'm doing you can get anything print on demand these days. So they do print on demand card decks. So I'm gonna do a card deck of questions. It's a game. So it's all these questions, personal questions that, somebody, you put the card deck out at your little gathering, you have a guest pick up and they read, what's a food that is everybody loves, but you secretly hate it, you know? And I know a lot, I have found out that there's people that hate chocolate.
Yeah. My wife. My wife doesn't like
So,
chocolate.
yeah, that's funny. So, but it's it'll be a bunch of these personal questions that get you talking and get people to know each other. So that, it's a really cool thing. It's interactive. It's not on the phone. It's not on the TV. It's not, you know what I mean? It's something that starts. And the artwork, by the way, it's humorous fine art. So you put it on the wall. When people walk in, it's going to bring a smile and start a conversation. So I'm going to have the fine art on the back of the card.
Cool.
So, and have coasters. So these are products you can have at your home, well, for your little get together.
So
And I want to do a charcuterie tray, but that's like in the future.
mm,
But there's, you know what I mean? You can keep adding things and then put these little ads in the back of your book and,
how do I
you
find this
know,
stuff?
can't yet
Okay.
because it's not published yet. None of it.
Okay.
I actually just I came up with the art idea, I don't know how long ago, but a while ago, quite a while ago. But I've only implemented it recently. I have, I think, 9 pieces of art now,
Okay.
and I'm quite proud of them. They look pretty good. Um, and then uh, I haven't made any of the other items yet. But I'm working on them. But like I say, I'm working on a lot of stuff. I designed an album cover yesterday. I'm editing a song. Um, it's not one of my own. It's I do write songs as well, but um, I'm editing as I work with a producer, and he comes to my house and we mix the songs. And so there's this one song, and one of the tracks. I don't know how much detail you want to hear, but there's a track for the crash cymbal.
Mhm.
There's another track for the ride cymbal. Well, the crash cymbal mic picked up the ride cymbal and it's too loud. So I can't just turn down the track because it turns down the crash. So I have to go in and find each spike and pull it down individually. So I'm working on that.
Mhm.
I There's a friend of mine launching a bathing suit business. So I'm working on content, social network content for that. So like, yeah, I don't know how many books I'm writing, but I'm working on a lot of books at the same time. As a matter of fact, I said I was working mostly nonfiction how-to books, but I am writing some stories as well. Those take me forever because I'm never
Yeah.
happy. There's always I gotta make it better. I gotta make it better. Um, and I mean, I've literally been working on one of the stories. I worked on it with my boys. I have 2 boys, and they were 15 at the time, and they are 34 now. And so I'm still working on those stories. We're still working on that story. So I'm working on these stories, but I am getting closer. Um, but it's a lot of work, and I know that if I make the movie's gonna be expensive because both there's two particular stories that just are, yeah, they got stuff in them that's gonna make them expensive. So they gotta have a big budget. But I have I'm taking fairy tales and rewriting them. Yeah, I don't know if you know this or not, but most of the old fairy tales, like Grimm's fairy tales, Hans Christian Andersen, um, Aesop's fables, they're public domain. So you can take them and do with them whatever you want. It's one of the reasons that Disney used the old fairy tales.
Mhm.
Um, you can't you if Disney did them, you can't use Disney's characters, but you can, look at the original story and rewrite it. So I'm working on Jack and the Beanstalk. I'm working on some others. Like I said, I'm just working on a lot of stuff. I've got I think 9 songs right now as well that some of them I wrote a long time ago. I mean, like I remember 2 of the songs were released back in '78. Um, um, I had I wrote one of the songs in '82 and I just released it. So there's a
Wow.
lot of just I'm working on a lot of stuff. So and I'm working on a lot of other people's stuff. So their stuff always comes before mine. And I can, it's like a carousel. I'm working on this one, then I pass that on, and I got the next one comes up. So I'm just working a little here, a little there until I get to a stopping point or whatnot. So yeah, the I'm learning a lot about AI because that sure helps a lot.
Mm.
Uh, it definitely speeds up the process. And um, for the bathing suit stuff, I started making videos to help people. I mean, I've got women at the beach and I didn't have to leave my house. I didn't have to pick
Yeah.
up a
It's
camera.
amazing how it
I just, and it is so phenomenal. You can only do so much for free, and I've been using a lot of the free things because I got to figure out which ones work,
Mhm.
you know? And then I'm learning that you can find one that works beautifully, but it won't do what you tell it. You got to keep telling it, no, but I wanted this, nobody wanted that. And that's another thing. It's called prompt engineering. Uh,
Alright.
and basically, what happens is you set up your prompt so it's a conversation. And instead of just having this really killer prompt and you put it on and you get something good, you set it up so it's a conversation so that it's continually asking you questions and you're answering the questions and you get You can get a lot better product that way. Um, so yeah, AI is really cool. It's really cool. Um,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fantastic.
it's scary in some ways. People are afraid it's going to take your job. To me, it's going to make your job easier if you learn how to use it. Uh, and and yeah, a lot more people will be making stuff. But I remember when the Mac came out. Um, the Mac changed the world. Um, if you look at a computer screen, like watch an old movie, watch is it called Working Girl? Melanie Griffith. Um,
Before my time, I think.
yeah. Well, yeah, early 80s. I'm trying to remember the people that are in it, but
The computer screen.
big names, big names. But
Oh,
Melanie Griffith is a secretary. She comes up with this idea and presents it, but she's on the computer. Another one is War Games with the only person's name I can come up with right now is Barry Corbin. But the main I can't remember the main character's name. I think he was Inspector Gadget, like
hmm.
the first. Yeah, but anyway,
I just think it's not
um,
Fred Savage, is it?
no, no,
Oh,
not Prince Sabbath.
okay. That's
Oh,
his.
you know what? I think he was Ferris Bueller.
Oh,
Wasn't that
Matthew
yeah, I think
Broderick.
that's the same.
Maybe
Yeah, yeah. Um, but he ends up he's playing a computer game. Well, he ends up hacking into this computer game that hacks into the uh, NORAD.
hmm.
And so he's like doing this computer game. It starts doing a simulation at NORAD, and it looks real to the people at NORAD. So yeah, it causes a big stir. It's a fun movie. Poor kid, he's just a high schooler, and he gets in all kinds of trouble with the FBI. And anyway, I can't remember why I brought that up.
The computer
Oh,
screens.
uh, computer screens. The way because the Mac gave us before we had blue or green type or maybe white type on a black or green or blue screen, and it was just what it was. The Mac made it so you could choose different fonts. You could do like a whole page layout. You could put pictures on it. You could, and then Windows kind of grabbed that and ran with it too. But that's what Mac did, and everybody was afraid. And now anybody could get a computer and go do graphic design, and a bunch of people did, and many of them were just not graphic designers. They were making horrible pages. They had every font they had on one page. It just was there
Yeah.
was total horrible stuff. But it was a little bit of a shock to the system for a minute, but then things got better. And I had a drawing table. I was a graphic designer, so I was doing it the old way. And the Mac came out. Eventually, I had to buy a Mac and join the group. And I say eventually, we started using the Mac. It came out in '84. We started using it in '85, but we would use, we were in college, so we would go use the school's computer, or we would borrow a computer, or we would rent a computer. Um, a lot of times we would be working for someone. We would go into their office and use their computer. And then I think it was '92 that, um, I bought my first computer, and it was a Mac, and yeah, back then Adobe only worked on Mac, so you couldn't have Photoshop on a PC. But it was a big change, and as a matter of fact, I do remember because in the old days you had to go to a typesetter and get your type. So you would type up on a regular sheet of paper, type up what you wanted. You had to know your font, your weight, your style, your the line length, the column width, the leading, kerning, all that stuff. You had to know that and have that all written on a page and hand that to your typesetter. Then they would typeset it and hand you back a galley. Then you had to go and put that into your layout on a physical layout on your drawing table. Well, the Mac came out, you didn't have to do that anymore. You could just do it all on the screen, and then you printed out the page, and it was all done. So I remember going to the typesetter with an order, and he was ranting about the Mac, saying it's horrible, and the type is not as good, it's not as clear, the edges are jagged, blah 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 blah. And I didn't say anything, but I'm thinking, man, you should just get one because people will still come to you if you have one. If you don't get one, you're gonna be out of business. That's what I was thinking in my head. 2 weeks later, I went over there, and it was a Subway sandwich shop. He was out of business. He'd been
Dang.
in business for years, many years he
Hmm.
was in business, and all of a sudden he's out of business because he didn't do it.
Didn't keep
I
up.
think it's gonna be the same with AI, man. People are gonna either jump on and learn it, or they're gonna be left behind.